Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive into A Course in Miracles.
Yeah, it's great to be back.
So today we're looking at Lesson 46,
All right.
God is the love in which I forgive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this one comes right after Lesson 45,
Huh.
God is the light in which I see.
Right.
So we're continuing with this theme of how we can experience God.
Yeah, and how that relates to our experience in the world around us.
Exactly. And particularly how God is that lens or that perspective through which we view the world, and in this case, forgiveness.
And it's interesting because when you think about forgiveness, a lot of times we think of it as like a moral obligation.
Right. Like I should forgive somebody.
Yeah.
And this lesson really turns that on its head and suggests that forgiveness is actually something that we do for ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about releasing ourselves from that burden of anger and resentment.
Yeah, and connecting to that love that's already there within us.
And within others and in the world.
Right, so it's not about condoning what someone has done,
Right.
but it's about choosing to see them through a different lens.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that spark of the divine that exists in every single being and remembering that we are all interconnected.
So how do we actually do that?
Well,
Because this is a very abstract concept.
It is. It is.
God is the love in which I forgive.
Right.
That could be a very heady concept for some people.
So let's bring it down to earth a little bit.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Let's say,
So
for
next
example,
guy.
imagine you know that you're dealing with a coworker
Yes.
who's constantly frustrating you.
Uh-huh.
They're always late.
Right.
They don't pull their weight.
They take credit for your work.
Exactly.
All those things.
Right.
So you know that anger and that resentment starts to build. How do we apply this principle in that situation?
Well, instead of getting caught up in that cycle of anger and judgment,
Right.
the lesson invites us to pause,
Okay.
to take a breath,
Mm-hmm.
and to remember that this person is also a child of God,
Right.
that they too have that spark of divinity within them, that shared spark.
Yes, exactly.
I love it.
And then even if their actions feel unloving,
Right.
we can choose to see them through the lens of love. We can choose to remember that they are part of the same oneness that we are.
That connection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that can open the door to compassion.
Okay, so it's not about saying, oh, you know what they did is okay.
No, not at all.
But it's about shifting our perception.
It's about recognizing that their behavior might be coming from a place of fear or pain or lack. And that doesn't excuse it,
Right.
but it allows us to have a little bit more understanding and compassion.
Yeah. And even to have compassion for ourselves in that situation.
Absolutely, because a lot of times we hold on to that anger and resentment and it hurts us more than it hurts the other person.
Exactly.
So forgiveness is really about freeing ourselves from that negativity.
So the lesson also gives us a very specific meditation to practice this.
Yeah,
Can you walk us through that?
absolutely.
Yeah.
So the meditation is actually very simple, but really powerful.
Okay.
And it starts by bringing to mind someone you're having difficulty forgiving. It could be that coworker we were just talking about.
Right.
It could be a family member,
Yeah.
an ex-partner, anyone who you're holding on to some resentment towards.
Okay.
And then as you hold that person in your mind, you simply repeat to yourself the phrase, God is the love in which I forgive you.
Okay.
And the key here is to really feel those words, not just think them in your head,
Right.
but to let them resonate in your heart.
So it's not just a mental exercise.
No, it's about shifting our emotional state.
Okay.
It's about choosing love over fear, forgiveness over resentment.
Yeah. And I imagine doing that repeatedly
Yes,
can really start to shift something within us.
absolutely, because every time we repeat that phrase, we're reinforcing that choice. We're training our minds to see things differently.
So what about those times when forgiveness feels really, really tough? Like what if someone has really hurt us,
Right.
betrayed us?
Yeah.
It can be very challenging
It absolutely can be.
to even think about forgiving.
And of course, Sells acknowledges that it doesn't say that forgiveness is always easy
Right.
or that it happens overnight.
Yeah.
It's a process and it can take time.
So what are some tools or practices that we can use?
So one really helpful tool is writing.
Okay.
And this is a practice that can be used for a lot of different things, but it's particularly powerful when it comes to forgiveness.
Got it.
So the way this works is you take a piece of paper
Mm-hmm.
and you just start writing down all of your feelings about this person.
Okay.
Don't hold back.
So just let it all out.
Yeah, all the anger, the hurt, the resentment, the bitterness, everything.
Just a free flow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just let it pour out onto the page.
Okay.
And once you've done that, then you can start to write a statement of forgiveness.
Perfect.
Something like, I forgive you for the specific action or behavior.
Hmm.
I release any negativity I hold towards you.
Okay.
And again, it doesn't mean that you condone their actions,
Right.
but it's a way of starting to release yourself from that burden.
And the physical act of writing it down can be really powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes it more tangible.
Yeah.
It helps to externalize those internal struggles.
So there's something about that
Yeah.
that feels different than just thinking it,
Mm-hmm.
to actually see it on paper.
Right.
And
But
what do
you
you
do with the paper? Well, you can do whatever you want with it.
Okay.
Some people like to burn it
Okay.
as a symbolic way of releasing that negativity.
Interesting.
Others might just tear it up and throw it away.
Okay.
And some people might even choose to keep it
Okay.
as a reminder of the work that they've done.
Right.
But the important thing is to find what feels right for you.
Mm-hmm.
There's no right or wrong way to do this.
So is there another practice or exercise?
Yeah, there is another one that's really helpful,
Okay.
and it's called gratitude reflection.
Okay.
And this is something you can do at the end of each day,
Mhm.
and it simply involves taking a few moments to write down 3 things that you're grateful for.
Okay.
And these could be big things or small things.
Right.
It could be something as simple as a beautiful sunset
Yeah.
or a delicious meal
Mm-hmm.
or a kind word from a stranger.
Yeah.
Or it could be something more significant,
Okay.
like a loving relationship or a fulfilling job.
Right.
But the point is to focus our attention on the good things in our lives
Mm.
and to cultivate a sense of gratitude.
And how does this tie back into forgiveness?
Well, when we focus on gratitude,
Yeah.
it helps to shift our overall perspective.
Okay.
It makes it harder to hold on to anger and resentment.
Right, because we're focusing on the positive.
Exactly.
And it's training our minds to look for the good.
Yeah, and to appreciate the blessings that we have.
So both of these practices, the writing exercise
Mhm.
and the gratitude reflection,
Right.
are really about shifting our perception and choosing love over fear.
And forgiveness over resentment.
Yeah, and I think what's really powerful about this lesson is that it reminds us that forgiveness is not a one-time event.
Right.
It's an ongoing process.
It's a journey.
Yeah, and it's a journey that we're all on together.
Mm-hmm.
So to wrap up,
Yeah.
what are some key takeaways?
So some key takeaways from this lesson
Mm-hmm.
are that forgiveness is a gift we give to ourselves.
Right.
It's about releasing ourselves from the burden of anger and resentment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about choosing to see ourselves and others through the lens of love.
And remembering that connection
Yes, that connection to the divine.
that we all share.
Absolutely. And it's not always easy,
Right.
but it's always possible.
Yeah, and it's a process.
Mm-hmm.
And there are tools and practices that can support us along the way.
Exactly.
Wonderful. Well, this has been a really insightful dive into Lesson 46.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us.
It's been a pleasure.
And to all of our listeners out there, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
And we'll see you tomorrow for another deep dive into A Course in Miracles.
See you then.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah, tell your friends.
All right, take care, everyone.
Bye.